What's going on? This is Aaron Price, the CEO of Tech United New Jersey. Very excited to be with you on what I think is going to be our last show of the year. We are here with Rita Gurovich, the CEO and co-founder of Sphere. Rita, nice to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure. It's exciting to be the last one of the year. We're going to end the year with a bang.
We are going to end the year with a bang. These do replay. So for those of you who watch and listen throughout the year, maybe you're missing it live, but you're going to see it and hear the wisdom shared today from Rita forever. This will live on in perpetuity. So no pressure. So tell people who aren't aware, what is Sphere?
So Sphere is an identity hygiene company, and you probably have no idea what that is. And that's because we're defining this category as we speak. So we're kind of a unique organization, been around for 13 years. We started in the broad cybersecurity industry. We found interesting needs in areas that we specialized in, specifically around the identity landscape. And as we started to fine tune what we do and built expertise and started to automate the process as well, we learned that we were the only ones that were tackling the problem of permissions growing, very rarely pruned. And we were also learning that we were tackling this very, very scary risk of ransomware that companies are just absolutely floored in terms of, how these bad actors get into the organization and what they do once they're in. So definitely an area that is top of mind across organizations. But also we feel really lucky and excited that we get to solve this problem from a little bit of a different perspective and introduce more innovation in an area that's so hungry to nip this problem in the bud once and for all.
So did you start out as a software business? Was this always the vision?
The vision was always to reduce risk. The means and mechanisms and the vehicles that we use to get there have surely evolved over time. When I started the company, one-man show, me, myself, and I. So we were a consulting company, meaning I was a consultant, and going to other large organizations and helping them get a handle on what identities they have, what those identities have access to, and cleaning up where there was mismanaged permissions that could potentially be leveraged to cause harm by an external party or, unfortunately, sometimes an internal bad actor. So as we kind of started to get into deeper and wider projects, we saw opportunities to advance automation, and that's exactly what we did. So the concept of us kind of morphing into a software company came over time. And what's interesting, too, about the business is, I got my start in technology within the financial services sector. And, our initial customers were some of the most complicated, largest global financial services firms in the world. So we got to build our craft in incredibly complicated, highly regulated environments. So it's been fun 13 years later, now seeing how other industries are taking advantage of all the lessons we've learned and all the automation we've built. And it's also allowing us to go down market within the financial services sector as well.
13 years is a long run. I'm really glad you brought that up. So you just raised a $31 million Series B. Mm-hmm. I know, we talk a lot about being best of breed. We happen to be Tech United New Jersey, and we want to see what we do impact the region in a very meaningful way. You have a significant New Jersey connection, right? You went to school here. You've raised now from Edison here. Can you share a little bit about your New Jersey roots or connections?
Yeah, I grew up in Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. I can fist pump like the best of them. And, I went to school, as you said, in New Jersey at Stevens Institute of Technology. I got my first job in their co-op program at Lehman Brothers, and that kind of catapulted my career. I was there during the bankruptcy, and that's where I got the idea of Sphere. I learned how to inventory identities, learn what a company has, figure out who's using what, all in an effort to slice and dice this company based on the different entities that bought parts of the Lehman umbrella. So all of that experience, all living, breathing, sleeping in New Jersey, kind of got me into the mindset of doing the entrepreneurial route and fast track, 13 years, here we are today.
So what made you shift from a consulting business, which is a certain lifestyle that can be very attractive for some, certainly with big enterprise companies, to having raised $31 million, which has a very different kind of a goal outcome, because obviously you have to return those funds. What drove that decision for you to shift the type of business you were building?
So the decision was largely driven by the customers. We were doing these activities and projects mostly manually, taking advantage of some tools that they've already procured and deployed. But we found ourselves realizing quickly that that just wasn't enough, and the
Yeah,
customers wanted us to go deeper. They wanted us to do things that were more sophisticated than the existing technologies were capable of, and also that wasn't their forte. There's not really many products out there that clean up permissions, and that's what we do for a living. So the company organically morphed into a software company. We weren't a bunch of PhDs sitting in a room thinking, what can we build that will have a high valuation? Absolutely the opposite. We found ourselves hungry to move faster, be more accurate, to be able to do more with less. And these gargantuan environments we deal with, doing the slow and steady approach, you'll be tackling this problem for decades and decades and decades. So we knew that if we wanted to dramatically reduce risk, not just kind of tip of the iceberg work, that we had to build automation into our process. So the customers drove us to that epiphany. And what I'm so blessed and grateful for with our investors, Forgepoint Capital and Edison Partners, unlike many traditional investors, they don't shy away from the services side of our business. They appreciate and recognize that this is a new problem. This is a new challenge that companies are tackling. And you still need that human touch. You need expertise, folks that have done this before, to avoid the common mistakes, people that have seen the nuance in all the edge cases. So we are 100% a software and services company that's finally getting customers comfortable with their identity landscape and knowing that they can go to sleep at night, that their permissions are locked down and identities cannot be taken advantage of and access cannot be given to people and identities that shouldn't.
can you give me just a couple best practices for those who maybe aren't big enough yet to require your services, or those who are just thinking about, perhaps this makes sense, but are we even in a good place? Are there some easy best practices to start with?
I would say, first and foremost, you have to educate your staff, right? This is what we've learned. Even internally, we are a cybersecurity company. We still do phishing simulations on our staff. We still constantly educate and train on the right things to click on and what to pay attention to and being alert and aware and, being up to date on all the different techniques that these folks and, these bad actors are leveraging to try to weaponize your identity and try to weaponize the access that you have. So I would say everyone, all sizes, all industries should be focusing and thinking about this, because sometimes these incidents and events that have catastrophic impact are not done on purpose and could be accidentally triggered. So everyone needs to be have their eyes and ears open. You have to pay attention, and don't trust the link, even if it looks like it's coming from somebody who you think it may not be confirmed. Do go that extra step and make sure, because you do not want to be the one that fell for something that took down your technology systems.
Yeah, agreed. We've had people, especially banks, often call me to verify, something I've asked them in an email, which I appreciate. But more and more, things are getting more sophisticated, and it's that much more difficult to figure out what's real. What would you say? Obviously, you have significant perseverance, being, sticking with this for so long, and seeing it grow through many iterations. What's your number one piece of advice for a CEO, in particular those who have a consulting business that they potentially are thinking about morphing into a SaaS-based product, a VC-backed institute? What's your number one piece of advice for another CEO and a similar to you?
So don't underestimate the difference between a services company and a software company. It is like running two totally different companies at the same time, right?
Lucky
Um,
you.
that being said, if you can figure out a way for both of those business lines to operate harmoniously together, you're really fixing the problem for the customers from all angles. I wish there was an easy button for cybersecurity. I wish there was a way that you can be completely hands off, and technology does all the work. It's just not the case and may never be the case, right?
Yeah.
Because the folks that are inflicting this damage are not stopping in terms of innovation. They're not stopping in terms of learning new techniques. They're going to stop what stopped working
Yeah.
and then continue to find, creative ways to achieve their goals. So from my perspective, that being in that environment, having to think about that every day, never being able to rest, that our approaches from today are going to work tomorrow, I think that's what enabled me to be able to do both the software and the services together and figure out a way for, both of those businesses to work together well.
Yeah.
My advice for people is surround yourself with folks that share the vision, but have the passion, have the energy to do it, and figure out how you can service the customer. We make mistakes as technologists, as business owners, that we think that we can conjure up the right approach without thinking of the end buyer and the consumer. And that's something that I focused on for 13 years. Make no assumptions, get your updates from the customer, learn about the needs from the customer, and then you're better equipped with good decision-making processes.
Yeah. What about in particular for women CEOs? Are there lessons you've learned in the industry? It's significant minority of women CEOs in tech in particular. Any advice for women leaders as they build their businesses?
Absolutely. I mean, one thing I've learned is to leave my self-doubt at the door. As business owners, male, female, whatever background you have, whatever age you are, you're doing this because you know something that nobody else knows. You've experienced something that others have not. You have a perspective that's unique to what got you to the table in the first place. So there's a reason you're at that table to begin with, and you offer something valuable and interesting to the topic at hand. So always remembering that you don't have to know everything. Nobody does. You don't have to try to be somebody that you're not, right? Leverage why you're there, leverage what you've done, leverage the experiences that have built your mindset in the way that they have, and be confident and push forward. And that's the advice I'd give to women in this industry. It's intimidating at times to be surrounded by folks that aren't like you. I understand and appreciate that wholeheartedly. But people respect people that know what they're talking about and speak with conviction. So I've just made that a point, and I have not looked back.
That's awesome, Rita. You've certainly earned the seat at the table. We appreciate your building your business and showing people what to do by example. Last quick note, talking about Tech United New Jersey, anything you would like to see the government do to make it significantly more attractive to do business in New Jersey?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a handful of common challenges that we all experience. Talent is a big one. And I think that certain areas in New Jersey are more equipped to help in those areas than others. So looking at what works for the areas that do have, a good success, and then maybe trying to replicate that elsewhere. For example, our customers tend to be highly regulated. So you can imagine where the location of our financial services customers in New Jersey or our healthcare customers in New Jersey. So think about the other demographics and verticals that business owners in New Jersey are interested in collaborating with, and think about how you can bring those two audiences together. And I think that would be an incredible opportunity for both sides of the table, the buyers and the sellers, to talk about, what they can do to help each other.
Awesome. Well, Rita, congrats on all the success and the determination and perseverance so far. The fundraising is fantastic. Thanks for setting a great example for the incredible kinds of people that surround the Tech United New Jersey community. We'll let you go on the rest of your day. I hope you have a fantastic holiday. I know you've been with me long enough to know we do a lot of high-fiving. So on the count of three, give me a high five to the camera. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Happy holidays, New Year, and everything. We'll talk to you soon. Take it easy.
Sounds great. Bye.
Bye-bye.